themselves so that we know. Thank you, Colleen. So that we know exactly who's here.
I can start. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Lenise Stevens, and I'm located here in the DMV area. I literally have just started last month, and so I'm looking forward to working with everyone.
Thank you so much. Who else do we have here from faculty?
Hi, I'm Dr. Ruth Moore, and I live in Savannah, Georgia, and I'm excited to be here with all of you.
Thank you so much, Ruth Moore.
Hello, I'm Dr. Andy Brown, and I am the residency lead. I can't believe residency is next week for everyone here who's going to residency. I look forward to meeting you in person. And Dr. Rush Wilson, it's good to see you again. We just saw a video of you and Corey in our last session, so we just had you on our thoughts. So it's nice to be here with you.
Well, it's nice to be here too. Thank you much, Dr. Brown. Who else do we have here from faculty?
Hello, I'm Dr. Robinson. Nice to be here with you all today.
Where are you, Dr. Robinson?
Oh, sorry, I am in Atlanta, Georgia.
Thank you much.
Hello,
Hello,
all.
everyone. This is Dr. Victoria Liu. Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
Dr. Liu.
Hi, so this is Dr. Liu. I am in Houston, Texas. It's good to be here with you guys. It's 105 degrees here, and it's been like this for a month already.
A
So,
month. Wow.
yeah.
You can
Good
keep
evening,
that.
everybody. I'm Dr. D.A. Erickson, and I am in Colorado. We don't have the heat that you have, Victoria, but it's been in the 90s and hundreds today too.
Although you know what, Dr. DA, it's 90 degrees in Toronto, so it's just hot everywhere.
Oh, it is.
It is. Hi, I'm Dr. Dixon. I'm the Director of Clinical Training. I am in Texas also, but I'm on the complete other end from Dr. Liu, and it's still 102 degrees here. So nice to meet all of you, see all of you for the first time, some of you, and again for the others.
Thank you, Dr. Dixon.
Hello, I'm Dr. McCormick. I am currently located in Kentucky, but I reside in Ohio, and I am happy to be here with everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Oh, there are two of you. Thank you both for coming. Anyone
I
else
can
from
go.
faculty? Yes.
I'm Jose Lopez. I am residing in Dallas, Texas, and Houston has higher humidity, but we're at 106. So,
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. Very warm.
Hello all, I'm Dr. Troutman. I am in Lexington, South Carolina, and it's actually tolerable today. We did not melt, so that's a good thing. It's about what, 95 heat index, but that we'll take that as a cool spell. It's great to be here to see everyone.
Wow, that's warm too. Thank you so much, Dr. Troutman.
And I am Dr. Rodney Harris, and I am in right outside Raleigh, North Carolina. I am in actually Youngsville, North Carolina. And I did not look at the heat index, but I just know it was hot, really hot. And I'm ready for it to cool down. So.
Me too. Completely get you. All right, anyone else? All right, so what we're going to do today is twofold. One is I'm going to give you just a couple of news things to keep aware of, and then we're going to talk about just the student groups and organizations that we have here in the department. I met with a student a little bit before we all started to log in today, and the student had no idea that some of these groups existed. So we want to make sure that all of you know just what's out here and what you can do to be involved in the department. But before that, there are three really quick news items I want to share with you. One has already been mentioned. We have residency coming up. So for all of you who are going, travel well, have a great residency. I will not be at this residency, so I hope to see those of you who are going in the fall at that one. But please check your email, check Canvas to get all of the details and things that you will need to make sure you have a successful residency and know exactly what you are to be doing. And then two other quick things. Compact, the counseling compact, they're going to start taking applications, it looks like next year or early 2024. So it looks like by the time you guys are practicing, for those of you who aren't licensed yet, you will hopefully have some interstate internet privileges between places if you choose to do so. So counseling and psychology will have these agreements. Psychology's been doing it for just a little while now. So that is great news because we needed 12 states for it to enact, and it is. So that is awesome. So we can thank Utah, Colorado, Nebraska, Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, Maryland, and New Hampshire and Maine, while we are waiting for Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Indiana, New York, Rhode Island, and Delaware. So we are making progress. This is really, really positive news for us. And the last thing is, are you all aware of 988? Just by show of heads, anybody? Yes, no? Some, I hope so. Well, as of the 16th, we now have 988. So it's another one of the 3-digit numbers we have, like 411 and 911, 311. And it is actually an existing line, it's a mental health crisis hotline that has already had a number and has been around for years, but Congress approved for a 3-digit number, and that number enacted on the 16th. So now when there is a mental health crisis, we have a 3-digit number that we can call. We can share that information with our clients, friends, family members, anyone who might need access to it. So that is really good news for our field. So those are the 3 updates. I didn't want to have too much for you because we have 5 groups that we are going to talk about that we have here in the department. We're going to start with CSI, then we'll move into BSDS, then we'll talk about Pride Plus, human trafficking, and then we'll talk about trust the process. So at this point, Dr. Cody Dixon, I'm turning it over to you.
And sorry, Dr. Rush Wilson, just to jump in, 2 quick things. One, I did put a very lengthy and comprehensive article link in the chat for 988. If anyone's interested, it actually came from the NBCC email that was sent out, if anyone's subscribed to that. It's called Answering the Call 988, a new vision for crisis response. And then also Dr. Harrison and Dr. Robinson's group, BSDS, will go at the very end. So thank you all. Yep.
Sounds good.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Colleen. All right, so we will change our order a little bit. Still to you, Dr. Cody Dixon.
All righty. Well, I'm filling in. I fill in for Dr. Crowley when she's not in for CSI, and she's on term off, and wonderful for her because she does a great job of taking term off, which we love for people to do. She has a wonderful group with CSI, and I know that they've already started and working on, or they've already done a wonderful PowerPoint that they have ready for you. And I believe Ashira will be presenting that for all of you today. So please welcome her. I believe you're the president, correct?
That is correct. Hello, everyone.
There she is.
Thank you very much for giving me this time today. Dr. Rush Wilson, is it possible for me to share my screen? Okay.
You should be able to.
Okay.
Okay, yep.
Here we go. And beginning. Okay, everyone, thank you again for joining us today. I'll be talking about today our Honor Society, which is Chi Sigma Iota, and our particular chapter with the Chicago School is known as Theta Sigma Chi. So our executive board members currently. I'm sorry, I thought I heard a question.
Theta Chi Sigma.
I heard something else. Theta Chi Sigma, yes. Okay. Currently, I am the president of Theta Chi Sigma, and we will do some instructions. So I am the current incoming president of the year 2022 to 2023. At this time, we'd like to encourage people to join our organization because there are many, many opportunities afforded to you as being a part of this wonderful honor society. We enjoy engaging new members, first and foremost, and we also have the opportunity to do outreach and introducing professional speakers who are currently in the field, can give us a look on the other side of academia. Next up, we have our current Vice President, Miss Emily Smith. She has a bachelor's degree from Central Methodist University and a minor in criminal justice. Her goals are to support and be a sounding board and a safe place for the members that will be joining us, as well as fostering the enthusiasm and engagement for current and potential enrollees. She's very excited to welcome anyone who comes on board, as well as answer any questions that are posed. Next up, we have Tatiana. She is our treasurer from previous years and is joining us this year as well. She enjoys being a part of the team, and she has a current position as an assistant manager and takes care of inventory. So that position is something that she is doing very well at, both as a member of our team and in her professional life. She really wants to make sure that we stay on task and maintain our order within the organization, because as we know, money matters are not an easy way. They're not easy to manage on their own at all. So Tatiana does a great job in making sure that we're staying on task and keeping within the guidelines posed by our parent organization. We also have our secretary, Miss Maria. She is very engaged in our committees and activities, and additionally helps us to stay on task by maintaining meeting minutes and notes and keeping me in line, because my memory is like a bucket with a hole in it. So she helps with maintaining order and keeping track of the membership as they join, as well as people who are graduating and leaving. We have Crystal, who is our committee representative. She, I would like to say, is the person that watches over all of our committees. She makes sure that people have what they need, depending on whether or not they'd like to join or they'd like to engage in different activities that are within our organization. She does have an extensive background. So if you have any questions concerning like Hispanic Caribbean studies, she's the one to go to, as well as trauma. And she did a wonderful presentation last year concerning trafficking. And then we have Jordan, who is our immediate past president, as well as my mentor. She also has a very impressive background and is currently an alumni of the Chicago School. So she is offering her talents in the real world, as well as helping us with our bylaws committee, which generally consists of making sure that we're staying within the guidelines that are presented by Chi Sigma Iota. And finally, we have Dr. Crowley, who is our chapter faculty advisor. Dr. Crowley also has an extensive background, including being a counseling educator, being a nationally board certified counselor, an approved clinical supervisor, an internationally certified alcohol and drug counselor, as well as a master's level addictions professional, and much more. She has a specialty in addictions, as well as providing counseling to individuals, couples, families, and helping them to manage depression, anxiety, many of the different areas that we're well versed in. She is a master at. And managing LGBTQ+ concerns, which is something that's sorely needed. These are a few more of her credentials. I'll give a moment so that you can browse through them before I move forward into the nitty-gritty of our organization. Okay, so our organization needs you. We need people who are willing to engage us. We have many committees that need membership. For example, the social committee, which helps with outreach in our community, as well as with our cohort members. As Dr. Rush Wilson mentioned, there are people who don't know about us. So if you join the social committee, you can help to spread the word on what it means to be a part of an honor society. We also have our bylaws committee, which does need regular updating so that we can stay on task and on topic and within the guidelines given by our parent organization. We also have the membership committee, which is incredibly important because it helps us to keep track of who our current members are, as well as our alumni and our incoming members, people who are interested in being part of what we do. We also have the alumni committee. Now, as you know, once you graduate, your time with the Chicago School doesn't end. You have an opportunity to kind of give back to the newer people who are joining our family and provide them guidance to help them move not only through academia, but into the professional realm. And that's where our alumni committee comes in. So we're developing a newsletter committee to kind of partner with the social committee in getting the word out, as well as a fundraising committee, because again, we all need money. And it's helpful when it comes to participating in conferences, as well as doing certifications and getting those extra education credits. So what we have to offer. Generally, we offer professional speaking opportunities within our monthly meetings, which occur every third Wednesday of the month. We will be resuming those meetings come September, as we are currently on our summer break. We provide an announcement in the advising forum, so that way you're informed on when we're having our meetings. We also make sure our meetings are open to anyone who would like to attend. That's right. They are open to anyone. You don't have to be a member to sit in on our professional speakers and listen to the wealth of information they have to provide for us. Also, if you're interested in joining, we do offer mentorship pairing opportunities. So we can have an alumni paired with not necessarily a newer student, but anyone within the current program can be paired with an alumni, and you meet monthly to have conversations based on how your progress is going as a student. They can also help with networking when it comes to venturing out into the professional realm. One little known fact about our organization is if you remain within good standing in our organization, you graduate with honors. And who doesn't want that? You slave away for 3 years to make sure that you get your degree and you're able to move into a field that you appreciate. Wouldn't you like the honors to go along with that? So again, thank you very much for listening to my spiel, and I hope that we can encourage you to join our alumni committee. Thank you.
If we have additional questions, are we able to contact you?
You certainly are. I will put my email address in the chat. That way you can send me a message directly and I'll answer your question as promptly as possible.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So that is our first group. The second one we will have is Pride Plus.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to be presenting for Pride Plus. My name is Heather Deshane. I am a doctoral student here with the Chicago School, and I am working on my doctorate in counselor education and supervision. So I will also share my screen so that you guys can see my little PowerPoint as well. So we'll get into it. So who are we? We have Dr. Troutman as one of our faculty advisors, and we also have Dr. Crowley. She is on term off, living her best life right now, doing this whole cross-country adventure. I am very thankful and lucky that Dr. Crowley is my dissertation chair as well. So I get to talk to her on pretty much a daily basis, and she keeps me up to date on all of her wonderful adventures that she's getting into. And then there is me. I am in my second year, going into my third year of my doctorate program. And in full dissertation writing mode right now. So to say that my middle name is stressed is an understatement. Two of my other committee chairs are here tonight also. So very supportive, Dr. Dixon and Dr. Robinson. I'm lucky to have them on board as well. But so a little about me. I live in Virginia. It is very hot here as well, so relatable. I'm on the as far east as you can possibly go in Virginia. And
I'm not sure if it's just me, but someone's mic is walking out while Heather is saying.
Yes. Oh, it's
Yes, if you can all put yourselves on mute, please.
I wonder if somebody like walked away. I'm trying to, okay, there we go. So again, I live in Virginia. I am a certified substance abuse counselor here. So my full-time job, I work in a partial hospitalization program. And I love what I do. I decided I kind of got thrown into substance abuse unexpectedly and ended up really loving it. So decided to get certified in it and pursue that as my full-time career. I will be licensed here in Virginia in just a couple of months. So I am very excited. I did complete my master's degree with the Chicago School as well. So I've been around with the Chicago School and with all of this amazing and wonderful faculty for a while. I'm very lucky to have been able to get my master's and do residencies with them and pursue my doctorate now as well. So that's us. I didn't have a really professional headshot, so I found the best picture I could find of me in Ireland. That there were no puffins, so I was very sad, but I'm gonna get professional headshots one day. All right. So what are we? What is Pride Plus? So Pride Plus is a campus-wide, online campus-wide organization that's available to any student that is currently attending an online program. So this includes not just the CES or Counselor Education Supervision and the CMHC programs, but this could be people from, if you're in the online bachelor's program or online forensic psych program, it's open to everyone. We emphasize having a safe space and community where students, faculty, and staff can come to connect with others within the LGBTQ community. And you do not have to be a member of the LGBTQ community to come and be a part of our organization. You can come as an ally and as an advocate to the community as well. We are open and inclusive for everyone. So, if you're interested in coming to learn more about professional and personal development, how to work with this population, or you want to know more about navigating grad school, networking with others for future employment opportunities, or collaborating with faculty and other students, that's what we provide. And again, we really emphasize this safe zone and having a space where you can just come and really be your truly authentic self. My journey as identifying as a queer woman in the South has been long and arduous. And when I learned about Pride Plus a few years ago, it was near the end of my master's program. I was so excited to have a space where I could just be me and not worry about judgment or, people looking down on me for who I am. So it's been a wonderful experience for me personally, and I've got to really meet with other people who have had similar experiences and kind of share with one another and talk and just provide sometimes just a listening ear to other people in similar situations. So in our meetings, we talk about all kinds of stuff. There's really nothing that's specifically off limits. We're very open. But in the past, we've talked about obviously sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression, the differences between these, and what these all look like. We also talk about what it means to have LGBTQ inclusive curriculum in programs. So this includes not only having, a chapter in a diversity and multiculturalism class, but having whole courses that talk about what human sexuality is, which we do offer that in the master's program as an elective. It's a wonderful course, also taught by Dr. Crowley and sometimes myself. So if you're interested in learning more about it, that's a wonderful course to really get to know more about LGBTQ and human sexuality issues. We also talk about ethical considerations for this population, what it means to work with, trans members, two-spirited members of Indigenous communities, and some of the cultural considerations that we have to think about when we work with individuals. We also talk about issues affecting LGBTQ plus individuals. So one topic that's been brought up is some of the legislation in individual states over the last few years that, pop up either advocating for or against LGBTQ rights. And we talk about how that affects the community at like a, community and societal level, but also at the individual level as well. And we also provide support and education for allies and advocates. So, for those who might be interested in just learning more about the population and, want to talk more, about what it means to be an ally and what it means to be an advocate. We open that door for you to come and talk to us and learn about that. Stigma and discrimination and prejudice, we talk a lot about that also. And then care and challenges facing each identity within the acronym of LGBTQ+. And I shortened that acronym. As many of you know, if you already work in this community or with this population, that acronym can be much longer. And then intersectionality of identities and what that means. So again, I identify as a queer woman from the South. I'm a white woman from the South. So I have both privilege and oppression based off of my different identities and how those intersect with one another. So we sort of dissect some of that and talk about it and kind of identify some of those issues that might pop up. We try also to have like guest speakers to come in and speak to us. We're lucky to have wonderful faculty advisors who have a lot of, connections and network to reach out to other people and come in for guest speaking. And we've also started to create a repository of information related to all of these topics. So that way, you all can have access to that as not necessarily members, but as those who are interested in either working with the population or just interested in general of gaining more information and more knowledge. And we have a lot of group discussions. Honestly, we show up and we just kind of talk about what's on our mind and what's bothering us, what's going on in the world. We kind of sometimes just leave it up to who's in the group. What do you want to talk about and what's on your mind and what's bothering you and what's happening. We hold monthly meetings. We are on term off currently since Dr. Crowley is on term off, and we are hoping to restart this in the fall as well in September once she gets back from her worldly adventures. And so we will be putting out flyers and posters to all of the departments and posting in the classrooms and stuff when our meetings are going to be, but they are typically held on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central. So once we know exact dates, I will definitely let you all make sure, it gets, disseminated to the programs for sure. And again, we respect your privacy. So if you come and you don't want to be on camera, that's totally okay. We recognize that, this can be a sensitive and touchy subject for some people, especially if you're still kind of exploring your identities. But we respect all of that. And then I just added some resources on here because these are some things that we might talk about in some of the meetings as well. So the Trevor Project, GLAD, the Human Rights Campaign, PFLAG, and then there's also state and local resources. So for example, here in my area in Hampton Roads, Virginia, we have the LGBTQ Life Center, which does weekly groups for all identities. And they also do HIV testing. They do family planning and counseling. You can do individual counseling there, group counseling. It's a wonderful resource. So, you know, you could definitely check out your local area to see what's available there. Yeah, and I can put our email in the chat as well, so that way if anybody has any questions, you can reach out to us and touch base and ask us anything you like. But that's about it for me.
Thank you so much, Heather.
If I can add something real quick, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Dr.
Yeah.
The Trevor Project is in dire need of volunteer counselors. So if you have an interest in this population and you have some knowledge about this population, you don't have to have your master's degree to be a volunteer counselor, but they have been inundated with calls and text messages for support for youth. So if you're interested, go to the Trevor Project's website. It's a rather lengthy application, but we're all either clinicians or emerging clinicians, so we know why that's necessary. But I really encourage you, if you want to work with the community and do some really good work, please check out the Trevor Project's website.
Thank you, Dr. Troutman. Okay, so we will move to the next group so that you know what we have to offer here, and that will be human trafficking. Dr. Moore, are you here? All right, going once. I think she's here. We'll just move to trust the process and give Dr. Moore a minute to get that together.
Sorry, I'm here. I was
you
on
are
mute.
here.
I was on mute. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yes. Yes. So I have Jenna and Michael and Kevin, some wonderful doc students that have taken the lead on this project to kind of go over what our human trafficking group does. And I will let them work their magic, and then we can open it up to questions if anyone has any questions.
Are you going to get us rolling, Michael?
Cannot hear you.
Oh, is he?
Sounds like he's having some audio difficulties.
Okay, well, I can get us started. The human trafficking student group, it's a relatively new group, working with Dr. Moore, Dr. E. I'm blanking, I'm so sorry.
Dr. Van Meter. Yeah.
Thank you. It was coming. So just to bring more awareness to what human trafficking is, how you can get involved in the communities, how to recognize signs when working with clients, stuff like that.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Wow, I have no idea what happened. Thanks, Jenna. Like Jenna said, that we are one of the newer groups. We are still forming. So we're happy to present today so that you can find out more about what our plans are. So what is human trafficking? One thing that we want you to realize is that it's a large umbrella. It no longer is about child labor or prostitution. It's global. It has reached across all of the 50 states and US territories and has been reported. The organizations that are taking part in stopping and halting human trafficking is both federal, state, local, and even tribal governments as well. Some of the facts I would like to focus on today is that 40.3 million victims of trafficking is international. 71% of trafficking victims are women and girls, and 29% are men and boys around the world. Sex trafficking has been reported in all 50 states, as I stated before. Hotels were in the top 4 locations for the most human trafficking reporting in 2020, and human trafficking has been exacerbated by the COVID pandemic. So when we think of human trafficking, we want to think globally. Take for an example, what's happening in countries like Sri Lanka, where the government has failed. And now the next thing that will happen is that there will be trafficking. So a lot of the federal organizations, global organizations, the UN, are now taking focus because people are desperate and they're in a position where people will come in and try to take advantage of them because of finances, because of food, because of medicine and things like that. So why is this relevant to counseling? Well, we want to make sure that we are a part of the growing trend of preparing ourselves, preparing our craft, our art, our practice, so that we can reach out to victims, so that we can understand their stories of being trafficked, so that we can better provide treatment and counseling and resources for them. So this is one of the biggest parts that I like about this group. I work for the Department of Homeland Security. I work in an active assailant division, and our partner team is the Blue Campaign, which is the Homeland Security's answer to stopping human trafficking. And we would like to partner with that agency because right now, they don't have any professional school of counseling as a partner. So I think this will be great. It's for that our school can be an official partner with the Blue Campaign, and so that we can help to generate materials, webinars, seminars, workshops, even micro-credentialing classes and courses to spread to our alumni, to other counselors and organizations, because it's going to take an all-in effort to stop human trafficking. So the mission and purpose, working to end all forms of human trafficking through awareness, advocacy, education, trauma, and resiliency-informed work with a focus on high-risk groups and regions. So how to join? Well, we're going to have our next meeting on August 22nd, 5 p.m. CST. Hope to see you there. The meetings are open to anyone who would like to join or to learn more about our group and human trafficking. And you'll be able to add your email in the chat for information if you would like to have questions, or you can contact me, Michael Sutton, or Jenna Elwell, or, excuse me, I'm losing my voice, or Kevin Scowls. But just give us an email. We'll make sure that we give you a reminder when the next meeting, and all of the graduate assistants, we will make sure that we remind everyone when the next meeting will be. So again, I would love to see you there. We would love to see you there. Our group is growing. We're going to grow very fast. We have a very big mission. There's a lot of things that we would like to do, and we'd like for you to be a part of it. So bring your ideas, bring your heart, bring your mind. This is all needed right now. Thank you.
Yes, and I just want to say thank you to Jenna and Michael and Kevin for all the hard work that y'all did to put this together. And I know that they said you can contact them, with any questions or if you're interested in all of that, but you can also reach out to me, Dr. Ruth Utzmoore, or Dr. Jamie Van Meter, or Dr. Christy Eldridge as well, if you have any questions, or, just, and even if you aren't sure, if you are I don't know if I want to work with human trafficking, or I'm not sure, it doesn't hurt to have knowledge in that area. Knowledge doesn't hurt anyone, but come to it if you're not, just come and share your ideas, or just listen and absorb the knowledge. But we welcome everyone. And Michael was saying, that we are growing and we just want to keep growing more. So thank you. And thank you, Michael, for the presentation, for delivering the presentation tonight.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
I also just wanted to add really quick too that I know Dr. E isn't here right now, but she also had the intention of getting people from who work in the human trafficking area right now to do presentations and talk to us and just educate and expand that more as well.
All right, thank you, Jenna. Okay, so now we are going to move on to trust the process.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you, Dr. Rush Wilson, for allowing me to join today. My name is Jessica Newton Banks. I am also entering my third year of the Counselor Education Supervision doctoral program at the Chicago School. And I'm happy to be present with you all today. I did not get the initial, get a chance to interject in the initial introduction, but I'm grateful to be here today. And I am in a great temperature. I'm in the mid 80s in the Caribbean. So I'm thankful to be here, as well as thankful to be a part of the town hall tonight.
Thank you for being here.
So another option that we have, another group that we have here at the Chicago School is Trust the Process. Trust the Process meets one Saturday per month. And when we do speak, we more so we gather in a conversation where we talk about current events and how those current events bring changes to you as a counselor, how they do affect the profession overall, as well as an opportunity to definitely talk about the clinical cases that may involve ethical concerns or different circumstances. As a presenter, as well as an attendee of Trust the Process, I have really enjoyed the ability to come together and really discuss how this may have changed my perspective, or even to gain another perspective, even, changing some of my thoughts or even feelings. And that's actually how Trust the Process got started. Dr. Rush Wilson began discussing back in 2017, began discussing contemporary issues with a student. And from that conversation, there was a need. There was a need for, for this platform for counselors in training to be able to reflect on not only their thoughts and feelings, but also gain knowledge, which I know in my personal experience, it changed my perception. And it allowed me to even experience emotions that were associated with some of the current events. One topic that I presented on was related to stress and navigating stress through the pandemic, through COVID-19. And because I am a historian at heart, I did reflect on the past and when the country has experienced such a shift or such a transition. However, our generation, we haven't had that experience. And so it really gave me an opportunity to not only look back at the past, but also, discuss with my cohorts about how they were navigating through and through research as a presenter to offer suggestions and ways that we could all, as counselors in training, continue to navigate through the pandemic, because it's certainly a life-changing experience. And there are so many experiences that will happen throughout our lifetime, as well as through the experience of being a counselor in training. Those experiences change us. And so we are able to actually process those emotions, those feelings, those thoughts through Trust the Process, because it's truly a process. And there are times where we may feel lost, we may feel, we may question ourselves, but if we truly, and it seems so so cliche, but if we truly trust the process, then you actually are able to regather yourself through this experience. And this conversation that we have one Saturday per month allows you to really put yourself out there, and it is also a space of no judgment and a space of learning, where you can put out questions that you may have. And I believe that Dr. Rush Wilson will go through some of the topics, but my particular topic was navigating through stress. And it was a great experience. And I look forward to more sessions of Trust the Process.
Thank you, Jessica. I'm gonna move on. Thank you so much. Jill, are you there?
I am here. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Dr. Rush Wilson, for an opportunity to speak. For those of you that are in Dr. Troutman's class that spent 3 hours with me earlier today, I promise you I'm going to be short and brief. But again, good evening, everyone. I am Jill Ballesteros Bowman. I am currently almost done with my first year in the Counselor Education and Supervision doctoral program here at the Chicago School. And I am happy to pick up where Jessica left off. She touched on pretty much everything that I was going to say, but I was able to think about, no, it's okay. I was able to think about one or two things, but I always say great minds think alike. So just going into more about Trust the Process. So a lot of times we see these postings on Canvas and we see announcements from our professors about things that are going on. But what really drew me to Trust the Process was the fact that I noticed that a lot of the topics were topics that were interesting to me. And also there were topics that I wasn't as competent in. So it is an hour-long meeting that meets at 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. noon. So it's just an hour, but that hour can be life-changing if you allow it to be. It can be one of those conversations that stick with you if you just allow yourself to be in the moment, but also know that you're around other counselors in training, other clinicians, other people who are counseling professionals who just simply get it. And I think being in that type of a setting can be very beneficial. So again, we usually meet the first Saturday of every month, and due to scheduling conflicts, there may be an opportunity to meet on a different Saturdays. And if there is a change, I'm sure everyone will get that information. The conversations are casual, informative, and presented with mental health counseling in mind. And I think also, to just kind of add on to what Jessica shared, everyone's able to share their perspective. There's no right or wrong. There's no sense of feeling like you have to know it by a certain time frame. There's no thing that says that within the hour you have to become competent in this one area, and if you don't, you're going to have a consequence. But I think it all goes back to being present. So I encourage you all, if you are a part of the Trust the Process conversations, to really bring something, ask questions, utilize that time not to just sit in the room, but be a part of the conversation. So Doctors Russ Wilson, Liu, and Moore work with professionals in the field, even within the department, to identify topics. And you'll notice that other peers from the master's program as well as the doc program will also be a part of just the process in general. So too, with us being students, there might be things that are going on that might be important to us. And guess what? In that setting, we're able to share our input. We're able to talk about what those different topics may mean from our perspective, because we see things a certain way as students, and sometimes our instructors see things a certain way, and it's no right or wrong, but it's just about figuring out how to be able to meet in the middle, but also make sure that we have the proper competence, education, and knowledge about what we're speaking about. So some of the previous topics that have been discussed have been counseling in corrections facilities, interpersonal violence awareness, case processing, navigating distress, ethical and professional approaches, working with athletes and high-profile clients. This was one of my favorite ones, working with clients at an intersection of body image, eating, and identity, working with issues of immigration and counseling, counseling and immigration, part 2, Ukraine and Russia, understanding how the conflict relates to mental health, and is my dissertation trying to get me. So if you notice, there is something that will spark everybody's interest because the topics are very widely ranged. And another cool thing is there's always something new that relates to something in our field, something that will relate to the population that we are going to work with, and most importantly, something that you'll be able to add to your counselor toolbox. So I really, really encourage you all to not only just attend for the topics that you're interested in, but also attend for the ones that you may not know as much about, because you definitely will benefit from the experience.
Thank you so much, Joe. Brittany?
Hello, everyone. My name is Brittany. I am also in the CES program. I am about maybe a year and a half in, so I'm almost wrapping up my year 2 with the program. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. So I will also be brief, but I do agree with what my classmates have said as far as Jill and Jessica related to like just being involved and being really active into these conversations. So just to kind of give you all a few more information related to it, some upcoming topics that we have would be related to counselors and in the ethical system, really getting that expert testimony, activism, and advocacy and counseling, and understanding Wikipedia and things of that nature. But we also, I'm pretty sure we have a lot of different topics. I feel like me and Dr. Tiffany Rush-Wilson talk about a lot of things that, you know, we can add more things to it. So yes, we really dive into those types of topics.
Thank you so much, Brittany. Donna Reese.
Hi, everybody. My name is Donides. From New York, where it's 85 degrees and it's cold. So I envy those that have 100 degrees. I'm Caribbean, so yes, I love 100-degree weather. So these trust the processes are amazing, especially if, like my classmates mentioned, especially if you're looking for something that has to do with what you want. For example, for me, a lot of those topics relating to what I like or want to get involved in, which is incarceration, sex therapy, you know, and among 1,000 others, of course. But they do have different ranges of emotional responses. You can giggle, you have concern, sadness, shock, amusement, and interest. You also can ask 1,000 questions. For example, for me with Dr. Bree and her sexual presentation, she was amazing. And you even get to, you know, network with all these professionals. And I literally follow Dr. Bree in her social media, and she's just amazing. And she provided me literally for like 20 books of sexual therapy that literally, look, I sleep with them actually. I'm gonna show it to you right now, that I sleep with them right next to my bed. Look at this one. Like, it's amazing. So trust the process does work. So trust the process, people.
Thank you so much. And I'm glad it was helpful. I'll actually let her know. So all of you come and join us. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And I will cut it off there for us so that we can go to our last one. So we have Doctors Rodney and Chanel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Harris.
Thank you. Dr. Robinson is going to join me. So Dr. Robinson, would you mind pulling up the presentation for me, if you don't mind? So a number of years ago, when we were in residency, we had some learners that came to Dr. Hudson and myself, and they were having some post-residency issues. So they were processing some issues, and there was some unfinished business, and where they wanted to talk about some issues that they had not resolved. And they said, you know, there were some things that we left at residency that we wanted to talk about. And so we were like, you know, and we just kind of said, okay, we didn't have this space for them. And so we didn't have a place for them to talk about it. And so we just kind of brushed it off. And then so the next year would come, and then they would still have some other issues. And so, and then in the context, some other dynamics started to happen in the context of George Floyd and a couple of other issues. We started to have some of those issues. And so that came the context for Brave Spaces for Diverse Students. So we'll start the presentation.
And hello, everyone. I'm sorry, I was trying to get the presentation set up. All right, Dr. Harris, do you want me to do the intent?
You can.
Okay, so the intent and purpose behind this group is to identify and work to eliminate conditions that impede the development of marginalized populations within our student body and globally. So membership is on an ongoing basis as long as qualifications are met. Meetings will be held to discuss, develop, and implement strategic action agendas around issues of equity, service, and education that specifically impact marginalized populations. Advocacy, social justice, multiculturalism, and action are foundational principles of our organization. We talk and we do. So when we talk about membership, as long as qualifications are met, we are really looking at students who are committed to do this work, right? So committed to social justice, advocacy, both as an ally and someone who identifies within this population.
Yeah. And so I see some of the students. So we was founded in 2020, Dr. Hudson and I, and an alum, Justina Wong. And I hear some of the students talking about how raw some of the conversations were, because in context of what we started to do, we started to have some circles, we had some racial processing circles that were going on in context of the university. But what we also did is we took some of these racial processing circles into our community, and we started to implement some of these circles outside of the community and also within the university. And so we had some very raw and real conversations on processing racial trauma, and created this space where students could come and have some of this dialogue. Okay. So we partnered with the VCTC. That was the one I just did, and we created some specific groups, and we did some yoga, and we did some meditation circles specifically for BIPOC women and children. And we did these around the country. And so they were just powerful ways for us to kind of do some of our own work and just kind of process and help the community do some of our own work and support the community. So we were able to kind of do some of that work.
Okay, so I'll talk about student support. So we hope to recruit students of color and their allies enrolled in the clinical mental health counseling program online. So the interest group will identify and work to eliminate conditions that impede the development of marginalized populations within our student body and globally, right? So we recognize that, you know, we are all working together and we all have different identities that intersect and require our communication with our peers, our professors, and ultimately the clients that you all are going to be working with. So membership is ongoing and open to any student of color, advocates, and students interested in the challenges facing marginalized communities. And truly that should be all of us, right? Because we don't necessarily get to pick our clients when they walk through the door. We don't know their identities until they trust us and present us with those identities. So this work is extremely important. So we open that up to anyone who is interested. Meetings will be held likely quarterly to discuss and develop and implement strategic actions, plans, and agendas surrounding issues of equity, as I talked about before, but just expanding who membership is for and why it's important for us to have student support and for you all to have conversations, as Dr. Rodney said, surrounding topics of diversity and social justice, cultural competency, racial injustice, to name a few.
Yeah, and so kind of a couple of declarations that we made is that we decided that we must do something and that we needed support. And we wanted a space where we could talk and not feel judged. And we wanted to create this confidential space and where we didn't feel like we had to give explanations to everything we said and where we, to all of our statements. And then that we didn't feel like we had to, if we cried, we didn't have to explain, why are you crying? Or we felt like our dialogue was being interrupted. And so we wanted to create this space. And if you cry or whatever emotion that you had, that you didn't necessarily have to offer any kind of explanation, that this was that space that where you could do or offer and not have to offer any kind of explanation for that. And that was really important that we create this type of space. And that was intentionally that we did that.
Okay, so just pretty much expanding on what Dr. Harris just said is we hope to just process current events in a confidential, brave space to provide support and mentorship to students who experience cultural conflicts and in hope to pursue opportunities to advocate and explore social justice activities within the TCSPP community and internationally. So as you know, there have been so many things that have come up over the years that have impacted us. There are so many things currently happening that are impacting us and our identities and how we see ourselves. And it's important to have a space to really be able to process that, to be able to sit with that and connect with other people who are experiencing what you likely are experiencing, right? And some of us need to understand what our peers are experiencing, what our clients are going to be experiencing, and have that space to truly address that internal dialogue that may happen in isolation in a group setting. So students ultimately will have access to the interest group during residencies to create safe and brave spaces for students of color and their allies to identify and work to eliminate conditions that create barriers to the development of marginalized communities.
Dr. Robinson, I want you to say something. So one of the ways we talk about, one of the ways we do this outside the community is just more recently, Justina and I, there's an organization called Brave New Voices. You guys can Google that. And what Brave New Voices does is it's a national poetry competition, national poetry slam. And what they do is they, and it's something that's usually, if you Google it or you look at it on YouTube, they support, and it's usually on HBO. This year it's virtual, part was virtual and part's online. And so what we do is we offer support, and we offer support to the poets as they are talking about social justice, diversity. And so what we do is we assemble, I am the poet, I'm the community, the mental health person that puts together. And so Justina and I put together a team of clinicians that support the poets as they're talking about some of these issues and they're triggered or activated by this. And so next year, I'll take a team of poets. And so Brave Spaces for BSDS will be one of the supports that will support these team of poets during their national poetry competition next summer. And so that as they create this space for students on next summer, we will be there and we will support them. Dr. Robinson, you can.
Well, so this pretty much just outlines our alignment with the Association of Multicultural Counseling and Development. This information is also available on Canvas in the student groups file. So if you want to, expand, but this is just to simply note that we are in connection with that and the competencies that exist, right, for us as counselors within the multicultural counseling division. Well, I think that concludes our presentation. I am really excited about beginning to work with Bright Spaces for Diverse Students. I do hope to, connect with students more and have you all engage and participate. I would encourage you all to just look out for announcements. Don't be afraid to step in, even if you can't stay the whole time, right? Just come in for 30 minutes or 15 minutes and, check it out. Allow yourself that space to connect with others and connect on these issues that really ultimately impact us all.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Robinson. Thank all of you for participating, for presenting. And that concludes our meeting for today. So if you have questions, please direct those to the respective organizations, and we hope to see you more actively involved for those of you who haven't been. And please continue to stay involved for those of you who are. Thank you much.